Today on the Bob Dodd Show, I have a great friend that stops by in studio. His name, Alex Miller. I met him at the homeschool co-op that my children go to. And after finding out that he was in production for film and TV, and he also loved riding motorcycles, he quickly became a close friend. Please welcome Alex Miller.
All the editor dirty jokes. You know how hard it's going to be to try to figure that out later?
The editor, the syncing? Oh, because we all clapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what if I do this?
That's crazy.
Does that make it hard?
I quit. I told Angela we need to get one of those clapping boards that have a little running number.
You could just make one. Make one out of wood.
No, because I want it to be perfect and digital.
The Bob Show.
And then it'll go with the audio,
Go with the audio.
Mm-hmm.
You get a book. So close the book.
So check it out, guys. I'm here with my buddy, Alex.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for stopping by. He is a audio, video, basically producer, creator. He does a lot of different things. He his main gig is with his church, and he does all the audio, video for that. And do you also do their Facebook and all their, what do they call, social media stuff, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, so my official title, not that it necessarily means anything, is Creative Media and Marketing Director. And I'm over our social media, our content creation for our services, all of our marketing efforts, our branding, everything that has to do with media that's outward facing or special media elements that's inward facing, like for our services. That's something that runs through our department. So I don't personally do all the posts. We have coordinators who do that. But you could say technically that's something I'm in charge of. Yeah,
that's cool. You're part of the team. You're the lead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of exactly
for better, for worse.
You know exactly what I'm trying to do here. Alex came in today and checked out the studio and said, "Man, this is pretty nice. I wasn't expecting this."
No, I got to admit that I was taking some mental notes when I came in, especially, and I said this earlier, the app controlled lighting with everything being on one scene, that's killer because right now, our podcast set that we have at the church, we do a bi-weekly podcast called On the Go. So there's a plug there.
Check it out. So Go Church and podcast On the Go. You can find that on Spotify, YouTube.
Apple Podcast.
Nice.
YouTube, video and audio. But anyway, we're here on the Bob Dodd Show.
Yeah. It's all good, man. It's there is so much room for podcasts, I think that there's 5 million podcasts right now. Dude, I'm just
wow, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm just a little fish on this spaceship we call Earth, you know what I'm saying? So
is that a lyric from a song?
That's just what I say.
That's really brilliant. The spaceship Earth. That's actually a Disney ride, right? Spaceship Earth. Isn't that big sphere at Epcot? For all the Disney people?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. This podcast was almost called Spaceship. I'm sorry. Yes, it was going to be called something like Spaceship Earth or something like that, or Riding on Spaceship Earth.
Okay.
And Angela told me that was no. And I said, fine, I'll just say the Bob Dodd Show.
I like the Bob Dodd Show.
Yeah.
Has a good ring to it.
The more you say it, I'm wondering if it's working or not, but it is what it is,
You could just shorten it. The Bob Show, the Dodd Show.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I like it either way. Way. But the Bob Dodd Show has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. It's not bad. People know what it is, right?
Is there a slogan that you would put at the beginning of every episode?
No slogans. So far at the end of an episode, I started feeling like I should say to everybody, get along with one another and stuff like that on one of the episodes.
It's a good challenge.
Yeah. Because there's so much stuff going on. The conversation was basically heading in a direction where that, there's just a bunch of differences, and I for some reason, it didn't even have anything to do with bringing up we should be getting along, but it felt like I needed to say it at the end of the podcast.
Yeah. That's something that you should probably say to any parents too, right? Because parents, that's pretty much what we're saying all day to our kids is just get along.
Yeah.
Please for everybody's sanity. Just get along.
I like thinking that we are all children here.
Yeah.
And it's like when you see a kid screaming inside like the local, I don't know, grocery store about not being able to grab that Hot Wheels that he wanted. And he's flipping out. And then you look at a full-blown adult screaming about something in a parking lot somewhere.
Yeah.
Trying to remember, like, that big fella that's screaming in the parking lot.
Or lady.
Or lady. Act like...
No discrimination here.
Yeah, act like it's that 4-year-old kid that didn't get his Hot Wheel.
Yeah.
And things kind of look like, oh, man, like he's an adult. He shouldn't act that way. Oh, wait a second. We're human. We make mistakes. Bam.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is appropriate to scream at certain times, though. I do want to qualify that statement that you made, though, because it's appropriate to scream at a football game.
Sure.
Especially at any kind of hockey game.
Okay.
It's appropriate to scream when you're like doing something that's high energy.
Yeah, rock bands.
Rock bands. If you don't scream when you're going to see a band, you're probably not there for the right reason. Because you should be screaming.
You should be having tons of fun.
You should be having fun. Anyway, yes, that is, I don't know how we got down that rabbit trail screaming, but everybody get along. And there we go.
Don't scream unless you're at a rock show or, in a place that you're supposed to.
I think if you ended this episode right at that point, it would have brought a lot of value to people. And that's probably like the key moment, right, about not screaming. So...
Dude, I forgot to press record. Let me put record. Let's do this over one more time.
Wait, are you serious?
No.
Well, you got me. I thought you were serious.
Well, you are by far, you are a very good practical joker. That's for sure.
Oh, man.
I'm going to be on the phone here, and it's not because I'm being rude, but I notice that in the camera focus here, we are not even.
Are we not?
No.
You mean like height wise, or
no? I have
the
camera bumped over too much on you. There we go.
Oh yeah, it's a one-sided conversation.
Yeah, folks who are watching, if they're watching it, I'm sorry.
I can see it right now a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think I fixed it.
Yeah, it looks good now.
Okay.
That's good now. And what's behind this window?
I taped it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we have a lot of sun that comes through here and it blasts through the window. And it basically creates a source of heat, and which messes with the cameras. So if I want everything to be dark. Now that people know what's behind the curtain, I can never act like it's like something special or a different room.
I mean, I was honestly hoping to see like the Wizard of Oz. Like,
well, it is a green curtain.
Yeah, I was like pulling the levers,
dude. There's nothing to see behind here.
So I had to ignore that man behind the curtain.
Ignore that. Yes. Oh, dude.
Oh man, I haven't seen the Wizard of Oz in a while, but something that's just happened recently was they came out with the Wicked, right? Have you seen Wicked?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I haven't seen either. So I guess that we just won't talk about it. I was hoping you could tell me about it if you'd seen it.
Well, it's Angela saw it and she said it was okay.
Okay,
but it's just it's not something that I normally would try to go see.
Yeah, I wouldn't see a movie like that either. Like, I just want to see Star Wars.
I feel like Star Wars would be a better pick for me, instead of Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like Oz and then The Wizard of Oz.
I like the classic, tapping the red shoes.
Yep.
Which, for anybody who's read the book, that's not actually how it goes in the book. But I do think the movie is objectively a good movie, even if it doesn't follow the book exactly.
Sorry, folks. I didn't realize there'd be spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. No,
well, there's no spoiler. There's somebody taps red shoes. There you go.
There we go. Man, I'm forever known as a spoiler.
I'm going to get my hidden water.
Do it, man. Check it out.
Like this is, I'm going to try to drink. I guess you don't drink into the mic because this is not ASMR.
No, it is not ASMR. Is that where like people are like shaving their grass in a perfect line?
Like, where they make the sounds.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Like you listen to the sounds. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why people like it. Bob Dodd Show.
That's the horse sound. Everybody remember the Holy Grail?
Yeah.
With the coconuts?
The coconuts. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
a good sound.
Yeah. See, we got some good ASMR. This is
Yeah.
the ASMR episode.
Oh my gosh. Today on the Bob Dodd Show, we have ASMR live in effect coming at you here at the Pinbox Studios. Everybody, put your hands together. Everybody, let's be happy. We have
I like that you can distinctly hear that guy
in
in the background going, yeah, the Bob Dodd Show.
dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those are those pads, those music
That
pads.
sounds really good. Did you orchestrate that music?
No, they're what do you call it? They're basically pre-composed things.
Yeah, no, I just asked because you're a musician and you have guitars. You can't see it on these cameras, but you have guitars in this room. You have musician and musical paraphernalia around this area. So obviously you are a musician.
Giving more secrets away. No, yeah.
Sorry. I'm just like spoiling, like everything's mysterious about you.
I'm never gonna be able to walk around. People are like, "You play guitar?"
Yeah.
Like I used
what?
I used to play guitar, guys. I used to play guitar. Now they're just for show and for my boys.
It's just like riding a bike though, isn't it? Where you can go and pick it up anytime.
No, not at all. I feel like after, let's see here. I didn't play guitar for, I think at one point, like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, I didn't even pick a guitar up and putting my fingers on it, trying to do it. It was just like, what am I doing?
Well, you have to like develop callus, right?
Yeah. I have no callus
I'm
anymore.
not a guitar player, so I just know when I try to play. Now my son Marco, he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He has like really, I wouldn't say like adult. I don't know if this is a thing, but it's not an adult guitar, and the strings are not as tight. But I have a mandolin, and the mandolin stinking hurts my fingers when I play it. But I've been told you have to just pretty
bear
much
through it
and then develop the callus.
Yeah, I think that is good advice. And the way to do that too is to do your practice runs like on the frets. So going from 1 to 4 all the way down the strings.
Okay.
And all the way, on every string. And just keep doing that until your fingertips get real hard.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, speaking of mandolins, I brought it with me. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be so cool.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
However, I have one underneath the table. Yeah. So, dude, I'm happy that you're here. I never thought I would have ever got you on a podcast, considering you're producing them all the time. Like,
I mean, I've never thought I'd be on one.
Like roofers, they always hate putting the roof on their own house. Car painters.
Yeah.
Who knows if they like painting their own cars or not,
Yeah. When you make something, you usually don't get in front of like if you're making videos or if you're making podcasts, you don't want to be in front because you know what it takes or what it looks like. And like, I don't want to be that person.
Oh man. It's like, so like when you're on your production, like when you make your commercials, cause you worked on commercials and other stuff like that. Like we had a conversation on one of the other podcasts that I was doing about, enjoying the movie that you worked on. And, I realized that I have to have a certain distance away from like working on a movie or a project, because if I don't have a particular distance on it, I remember everything about what I see on the screen. So if we were at the graveyard scene, it's like, oh, I remember that night I had to grab, 320 buys, we had to build a giraffe crane and, it was raining and all this other stuff. You just remember everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the night Crafty served those tacos that just wrecked everybody.
Yeah, dude. I had to sit in the 4-banger for, 20 minutes while everyone thought I was just hiding from the work.
They thought I was hotboxing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude.
Yeah. That's the same way. I can't say it necessarily for movie set, although there are 2 movie sets I worked on. I was an electric rigger, just day played. And I'm going to first of all shout out to all the riggers out there, especially in the electric world. That is hard.
Yeah.
Like slinging those cables around.
Yeah. 4-augh's no joke. Yeah.
4-aught. Yeah. Just running all the 4-aught, power distro, all of that. And night shoots too, doing it all the night where it's dark and you're trying to make sure people don't trip, and on location. So on location, this was at a warehouse in Atlanta. It wasn't a low budget film, but it wasn't like an A movie either. So, you had to make things work. That was some of the toughest work I've ever had to do. It was like a 12-hour day, and we were just running power distro, setting up the site. And it was, as you said, 4-aught all over the place. Everybody was just, picking at each other, getting mad.
Dude.
Man, we had to rig up the condors of power. And because they were coming, the light, daylight's fading, and then when we had to stay to make sure that they had enough, distro to all their sites. Oh, dude, that was those were 2 days that I was like, I am so glad this is over.
One day on Jack Reacher, we were filming at this place called Tim Hoover Rock Quarry, and we needed an extra guy so bad, and all it was just to like lay out cable, and we do a thing called Ring of Fire. And if you guys can imagine, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many acres of ground we were covering, but we were doing a 9-wire run and multiple pallets of 4-aught, like I don't know, 600 pieces. I don't know, something crazy, 1,100-foot 4-aught cables. I forget. It was crazy. We were running Dino lights and a whole bunch of other, and my brother came out with us, and my brother's a tough dude, and he basically told me that go kick rocks. He's not coming in tomorrow. That his one day of running cable, he said, forget about it.
I think that there is a reason there's a high turnover in that department. But it's also like, the buffer.
Sure.
For those people who are like, oh, I'm going to go make movies. I'm going to be in Hollywood. It's like, all right, well, come do some electric rigging.
Yeah.
And then as like your brother discovered, it's not the way it appears in the movie theater.
Oh, dude. I wish I could have had like a cool story, and like I wish I could have been like, hey brother, hey Bill, like we're gonna work a half day today, and get them all excited. And then when 6 hours comes by, he's like, when are we leaving? Like, dude, we're working a half a day today. He's like, yeah, I know. When are we leaving? Dude, we're working a half of a day, a literal half of a day. We got like 12 hours of work here.
Oh man.
Oh man. I wish I could have pulled that joke on him, but my brother's used to hard work. He just wasn't feeling the movie work. That's all.
Yeah. No, I got you. It's not for everybody.
No.
Like you mentioned, I do at the beginning, I do more content.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a reason I went in that direction. I did think that I was going to be in the movie industry.
Yeah.
At first.
You could be if you wanted to be, but
maybe. I honestly, I really believe in doing what you love. Like that's really at the core of who I am. I've always just done what I love, for better or for worse. Yeah. And so I love what I'm doing. And I did try getting into the movie industry, and a lot of people who I loved working with, but I was like, I don't love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I believe in really having like a purpose behind what you're doing. So to me, I was like, the purpose is not here for me. And if I don't believe in the purpose of what I'm doing, then I'm not going to do my best at it. And it's not fair to me. It's not fair to people around me. And that's essentially why I don't work on set right now. And I mean, that's, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but that's the reason why I don't do it.
I feel like I say this a lot, and I say this because it's true. And I've said this so far about everybody I've had on the podcast. You're super, super talented. You're super smart. Like, you're a great camera operator. I know that because you wouldn't be where you are right now if you didn't know how to operate camera well. And
turn on the power button. That's the first step.
Dude, sometimes you forget to turn the power button on.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for that, that compliment.
But power on to you, because like you wear many hats in your job. So you have to kind of know all of the different things. Like, you have to know lighting. You have to know, you have to know camera work. You have to know all the things that a production needs to do in order to fulfill the needs of your client. So you have that. You wouldn't be where you're at right now if that church was like, Alex is trying to do what he's doing. He's getting by. It's okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. You're a talented guy too. You got a lot of experience. So
I didn't realize Alex was going to lie on the show today. So for a disclaimer,
I will 100% say that after you told me what you told me about just getting this set up, I was like, I could never get this podcast studio set up in that much time. It would take me so much longer. And just, I'm not going to spoil all your secrets because I know those are stories for you to tell.
Yeah.
But you've got a lot of experience in multiple areas.
For all the grips that will be watching or listening to this, I built my table grip table style. So if you guys can just understand that, you guys get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Come on, man, leave it alone. There's not a square peg in any round hole.
Yeah. Did you have a square when you built it, like a pocket square?
I did. I had a square, and for the most part, nothing's square.
Well,
you could stand on it all day long.
Yeah, I mean it's really steady. I'm not supposed to like bump it, but it's really steady.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me though, I got to tell you this because you're a carpenter. I'm building like a playhouse for my my middle child, Amelia. She's always wanted this backyard playhouse, like kid size, not adult size. And I'm building like a A-frame style. So, you got the roofs coming together.
Yeah.
And I've really never done carpentry. Not really. Like just handyman DIY stuff. And so I'm like, I'm going all in. I found this idea. It didn't come with any plans, so I had to just figure it out. I'm like, I'm looking at pictures. Like, this is how they put the stuff together. All right, I'll use self-tapping lag bolts, all that kind of stuff. But man, getting that thing square, like the A-frame, has been the bane of my existence.
3-4-5.
3-4-5. What does that mean?
It's just the way you put out your plot, is like your bottom. So as soon as you do your 3-4-5 and you get all your 4 90-degree angles, and then you post them and stick them so they don't move. From that point on, it's easier to keep things square. If you stick build and you don't 3-4-5, or if you don't take your corners and make sure that you do your X pattern and make sure they're equal, everything's going to be off a little bit.
Well, it's a little too late now because I've already started on the roof.
Dude.
But
if you need help, let me know. I'm not doing anything.
I maybe you need to come over and show me some things because I'm trying. I got my pocket square, like every point, measure 5 times. Don't forget twice, like 5 times, measure, cut once.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's for the most part. And actually, here's a question for you. Like, what's the tolerance when it comes to squaring something up? Because I realized some of those boards are warped, like some of the Home Depot, which their wood is not the best I found.
Well, so what you want to do when you're picking wood, you definitely have to start with something straight. There's no straightening any wood out necessarily unless you are like willing to put the effort into planing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that you're buying wood from Home Depot might be your first folly.
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
You could even get I don't want to say you're definitely going to get a better deal, but you're going to definitely get better wood for the same price if you go to a lumber yard.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So lumber yard.
Now, Home Depot is if you need a quick, like right then and there, or if you're building some kind of like deck for somebody that you don't really, they're not going to be picky about their deck and you're just using their raw wood or something like that. But for the most part, Home Depot doesn't get A quality wood. And if you do, you're spending top dollar for it at Home Depot, just like you would spend it anywhere else.
Yeah, that's what I found out. There was a different class of wood because I brought 2 boards that I thought were identical to the Home Depot cash register. I had to switch out some boards because I had to take some back. They were all warped. I was like, I'm going to switch them out. And I apparently picked up an A quality board and they said, oh, you can't switch that out. That's a premium board.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? And I said, yeah, we got like premium and standard.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I got standard. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, for what you're doing, you could pretty much use any kind of lumber, whether if it's twisted or not.
Yeah.
Because, number one, it's going to hold 4 or 5 kids at a time.
I mean, it's like not a big deal. It's just one of those things where you spend a lot of time like putting the pocket square up, screwing it in, and then you find out that the board is like bowing or twisting because that's the grain of it. And you're like, oh man, I'm never going to get this thing square.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. It's going to look and it's going to create just as many smiles, whether if that board's twisted or not.
That makes me feel better that you would say that. The smiles are what matter, right?
Yeah. Cause like the kids aren't going to look at it and say that Dad, why is this twisted? I'm having Rebecca over. Why is this twisted? She's going to notice that this is twisted. And you used gray lag bolts, and I told you to buy silver.
Well, I use black lag bolts. So.
Oh, dude, you paid some money.
Yeah, I mean, I got the good ones.
Man. Dude.
Yeah, I got the black ones. I got the decking screws that are coated. I probably should have done stainless.
No, decking screws are where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah, decking screws, especially if you're doing some wood, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just buying stuff people tell me to do online. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you're going to have success with it. And if I come over, it's not really going to change anything.
Well, you're welcome to go in and step into it.
Do you think you can hold a dude that's 390 pounds or 290 pounds?
I mean, it's reinforced.
Yeah.
It's reinforced. It's not like I didn't build
you got some hurricane strips on it because wants to blow away.
Yeah. Well, tell me, where are those again?
Oh man.
Oh, that's good.
That's cool. You're staying super busy then, huh? You're building projects. Dude, you just put your air conditioning unit in your house.
I did that. And this is how ridiculous it is because air conditioner, who cares, right? Mm-hmm. But I actually remember exactly when I put it in. It was about this time of the year because it was such a big project and I'd never done it. I didn't know anything about refrigerants. I didn't know anything about any of that. And in the course of a month, I stripped out our 25-year-old air conditioner and a gas furnace, capped that gas line and put in a heat pump. And no, we love it. It's
awesome.
I won't say the brand because people will judge the brand, but it is been working great. We used it in the winter time. I mean, you can't beat gas. I will say you cannot beat gas when it comes to heat. Like you're from the north, so you know if it gets down to 0,
dude, you
got to have gas. But when it gets down to 25, is pretty much the lowest it's going to get on average here, and that's fine. That's fine for a heat pump, and it's very comfortable. Saves us some money.
Yeah.
I don't know what the tariffs are going to do that stuff now, but
people are so up in arms over the tariff thing. I don't understand it enough to think one way or the other about it. Like I understand what tariffs are supposed to do. I understand, people against Trump, what they're saying it's doing.
Yeah.
I get it. I know for a fact that tariffs have definitely raised the prices on a lot of different things. Yeah. But as far as manufacturing goes, any major U.S.-based company, or actually I think any U.S. company, whether if you're major or small, if you have a product that you need to purchase from China in order to build your thing, whatever, if it's a thingamajigger or whatever, there are no tariffs, or I shouldn't say no tariffs. There are not exaggerated tariffs on things that are being manufactured here. So like car prices made in the U.S. aren't going to go up because the stuff that helps us build our cars, they're not being tariffed.
So the components are not being tariffed. It's just like
the final product is being tariffed when it comes over here.
Okay. So just if the chair gets assembled in China and shipped here, it gets a tariff. But if the chair leg gets sent to America and assembled in America, there's no tariff.
There's probably still tariffs, but like normal tariffs, like there always been. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, the DJI Osmos Pocket 3, you used to be able to pick it up, just the camera, for $519. Now just the camera is $700.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Which is a nice camera. It's a really killer deal.
I still might buy it. You know what I mean? I have one already, but I still might get another one. The DJI drones went up in price a lot too, like $300-400 bucks.
Man, that's a bummer. They make the best drones.
Yeah, and I feel like that with so Pinbox Production. I talk about it on my podcast. We're going to go public in the future here, but we're producing podcasts and we're producing YouTube channels. And one of the YouTubers that we're producing a show for, we're developing a pilot for him right now. He said, "Hey man, if you're going to be doing a show for me, I'm really going to need footage close up here, and you can use my drone." And I said, "Oh, well, what kind of drone do you have?" And he didn't have a nice drone. And I said, oh, we won't be able to use that drone for what we're doing. And he's like, well, you're going to need a drone because I'm going to want these shots of me chopping a wood 90 feet up in the air. And
well, you can't just climb up the tree and get that, Bob?
I know that I look like I can do something like that, but I'm not willing.
I think you're just trying to be humble.
No.
Honestly, I can see you climbing a tree with the camera, that Osmo, holding the Osmo at 90 feet in the air.
Osmo does a lot of good things. It's not going to do that. But so we have to buy a drone. And I told Angela and I showed her the drone and she was like, that drone's $4,000. And I said, I know it's $4,000, but
okay,
we're going to need it. And she's laughed at me.
I'm going to like, does it have Hasselblad in the lens?
David Hasselhoff? What?
Kevin Bacon? No. So because like the Mavic Hasselblad lens variant, the DJI Mavic series, like those are nice drones, right? Are those like $4,000?
The drone that I would like to get, I forget the model number. You can buy just the drone, I think, for like $2,400.
Okay.
But the total package with battery, goggles, and things like that, I think somewhere around $4,000 total for the whole package.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So the actual camera that's on it, I'm not exactly sure. I just saw the package and I said that will work, and I didn't do any research. I just said that will work.
That will work. Well, when it comes to drones, doesn't need to be a reason. You just need to know they're fun.
Yeah.
So you just spend as much as you want, right?
Now, I already have my FAA license because there was a drone called Lily many, many years ago, back in like 2015. And they were developing a drone that's supposed to be a follow drone. And I bought into the product. And then a year later, they went under. So I lost my money.
Lily. That's interesting. I didn't know about this.
Yeah. And so that was like, I was buying into hopes and dreams of a company that would do something. And they got sued by GoPro because they were using GoPro cameras on their photo shoots.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And just like shooting the Lily cameras and stuff. So they got in some kind of trouble. So they ended up going under, and I lost money. And I wrote to the class action lawsuit because I received a letter saying that there's a class action lawsuit against them, and I signed up for it. But then I haven't heard anything since then, and that's almost 10 years ago.
Man, that stinks. I'm sorry that happened. But you know what's ironic though is that I'm tapping the table. What's ironic is that GoPro started their own drone, right? They tried to have a drone product and it flopped completely.
Wow.
It was not a viable competitor to DJI. So they completely ditched that idea. So maybe they were just like mad about that because this might have been about the same time. Maybe they were just mad and like, we're going after people saying, hey, no, you're not going to put out a competing product. And they just used that as an excuse to say, oh, you used our cameras to promote your drone. You can't do that.
Yeah. I don't know. My buddy Butters, back in Pittsburgh, gosh, if you end up seeing this, Butters, what's up, Butters? But he was like, I'm buying. So he bought into it and I bought into it. And I feel like a drone nowadays, it's a must. There's no way you can run anything without a drone. Yeah. If you're doing any kind of video, you need a drone.
Well, drones, FPVs, like FPV drones, right? So I saw an FPV drone for the first time about 2 weeks ago. Somebody brought it over to the church and he set up his goggles. You know, they have like these antennas like that, kind of funny looking things, but he flew it through the church, and I was amazed, like just by how he was able to go into spaces and what it looked like. And I was like, this is really neat. I got to figure out a reason why we need this.
Well, you can get a really nice DJI drone and still have the goggles, I think for like $600.
It was
$700.
It was a DJI. It was
the Mini,
the Avata.
Okay.
Did you have? And I don't know much about FPV drones. I've got a Mini 3, and It's a pretty good drone. Like I can pack it up. It was like a Costco special, but I can pack it up into this little case, like this big.
Yeah.
So it's really portable, but I do wish the image quality was better. It does not shoot log. It shoots like a standard profile. It's the only problem with it.
So far, logs kick me in the butt. I need to school up on shooting in log.
Yeah, log it kicks you in the butt if it's not, edited. It's like a different color space, right?
Yeah, it basically flattens everything, so you can bring in the look of your lighting that you want, whether like how saturated you want it, how sharp, how clean, or how dirty you want it.
Yeah.
So
like gives you more versatility supposedly.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, like if you sit there and you're shooting in D-Log or like Apple Log, whatever, all companies have their own log. All it does is brings it to a middle ground, so you can go from where you want. So when you're shooting audio, you have all these frequencies to play with. Well, when you shoot in D-Log, you have all the frequencies to play with it, just like audio.
Yeah.
So, if you want to bring contrast up and like hide the clouds and bring out a different color, or sharpen the clouds and, bring in, I don't know, people do it when they color the video. It really helps them with that. And some people are really, really good with that. I don't know anything really about it other than I shot in D-Log my very first podcast by accident. And,
the color was phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Dude, Ross Jones, for you guys don't know, Ross Jones was my first podcast, and he was, such a good soul to come here and help me out. I had the window open. We started in the daylight and ended in nighttime. Oh my gosh. But I learned a lot.
There's been so much that's changed since then.
Yeah. It's only episode 5.
Yeah. I mean, it's quickly like just going up here to the top,
dude,
to the moon.
We're climbing a ladder
to the moon.
And we're not going to stop until we get to the moon. So
we started at the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Isn't that's a rap song, isn't it?
I think so. You should start it.
I don't know. That's from some kind of rap song I've never listened to. I've just heard younger people talk about it. I try to take slang from younger people and use it sometimes, not because I want to be relevant, because I know it's going to embarrass people.
At nighttime, Alex hides in his closet, and his rap name is Pro Pop.
Pro Pop.
My name is Pro Pop. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's the Dodd ditty.
My favorite kind of dance is the pop lock. I don't know.
The pop lock.
Pop lock. But yeah.
That's funny.
But dude, yeah, I mean, like, so doing this whole podcast thing is like a crazy, I don't know, man. It's crazy. People think that I'm stupid for doing it because they think that people are not going to want to pay for people doing, like, to produce a podcast for them.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a dumb idea. I think it's a good idea. And simply because it doesn't necessarily matter as much what a product is, but rather what value you bring to them.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like you could do multiple things, and you're a really people-oriented person, and you know what people are needing, and you find a way to meet a person's needs. And sometimes that's through, like, actually, this is a perfect example. I walk in here, you got water everywhere for people to drink. You got a nice accommodating setup. Like, this brings a lot of value to somebody in a way that just like, hey, let's go shoot a podcast.
Yeah.
Doesn't. Like, you know how to make people comfortable and create an environment. Like, I don't normally talk this much. This is probably the most I've talked in about a month. My wife will say that's true because I don't talk very much. But
well, when me and you get together, when Alex and I, if I knew proper English, you always talk a lot with me.
Yeah, we talk because, again, and that goes back to you're making an environment that is conducive to having like really good conversation. And I think that's like the bottom line of why this is a good idea is that you're really good at being personable and connecting with people. And that's what this podcast or a podcast or anybody will do, is for connecting with people. Yeah. So people maybe they don't realize that's what podcasts are trying to do, is connect with an audience, connect with people. And anybody can do it. Any business, any individual, any brand. And like you mentioned, I think you mentioned at the beginning, the church, we have a podcast where it's not a sermon because we have pastors on there. It's more of a conversation. and people identify conversation because that's how we communicate with each other on a daily basis about important topics like tariffs and, drones.
Tariffs, drones. Like one of the things that I think that my podcast is going to offer is when you're driving to work, and let's say my average podcast is an hour and a half long, and let's say you're driving to work, dude, you have someone driving to work with you, and it sounds like that if you're listening in, you could have like people to hang out with while you're driving to work. That's
exactly
like, I should call it the Bob Dodd Hangout, but it's like,
hangout.
Yeah, but I know I'm going to end up bringing some people in here that I don't know, and it's going to be sort of an interview. I just had Coach Jorge in here, and I realized talking to
Coach Jorge is
the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professor.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Yes.
At Peachtree City Balance Academy, Gracie Balance Academy. That's where Ethan goes to Jiu-Jitsu. So I just had him on here, and I realized that I don't know him well, other than the fact that I know him as the Jiu-Jitsu coach, right? And I realized that when I don't know somebody very well, my conversation, I get lost in it. And I feel like I have to learn how to navigate conversations better with folks who I don't know. And because I'm trying to drive this conversation, sometimes I lose sight of it because I get so interested in the person. Like Coach was talking, and I forgot we were on a podcast, and we're doing a podcast, and I forgot to switch, for the couple times that I talked and he talked. Yeah. So I forget to switch the video. So hopefully I can fix it in post. But if I can't fix it in post, you're going to see Coach Jorge while I'm talking for a minute and a half.
You can fix it in post. That's what Hollywood does.
Yeah. Well, Hollywood's good. I'm just Bob.
This is the Bob Hour. That could be your show name, the Bob Hour.
The Bob Hour. But what if you go over an hour?
It can be an approximate number, or 60 and some minutes.
Yeah.
60 minutes with Bob.
The Bob-opolix.
The Bob-opolix.
Apocalypse. The Bob-opolix.
Yeah, that kind of goes with the rock theme. You could do some grungy graphics to go with the intro.
Yeah. I once owned a website called boopbopbeepbop.com. And I thought I was going to sell electronics and stuff on it. So I bought the name and never did anything with it. It was boopbopbeepbop.com. So I purchased the website name and then let it go. So somebody else probably owns it.
Oh, you let it go. That's such a catchy name.
Well, I thought I was going to sell electronics and stuff, but
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but it never happened.
That's like Woot.com.
Yeah, Woot.
It's like deals on electronics.
Yeah, but I was just going to sell electronics that I thought were cool.
Boop bop beep bop. It's the
It's like a robot.
It's the robot. Okay, I it's the headphones. It made me not hear it correctly.
Oh my God. Let me turn this down a little bit for you.
No, don't turn it down. It's making this enjoyable.
There is the big debate, two headphone or not to headphone.
I think the headphones are good. And that's one of the notes that I'm taking right now. I've taken it down mentally. Yes, I'm learning. We're all learning here. Yeah, for the podcast at the church is I think they need headphones because they need to hear themselves.
Wait a second. You're telling me they need headphones to hear themselves?
Yes. And we also need a sound effect pad going on so it can just do that.
Sound effect pads are fun, but I'm sure they get to be annoying. If someone is listening into their car and they hear that squeal, that's annoying. For instance, Angela hates I listen to all sorts of music. So anything from hip hop to gangster rap to rock and roll to whatever. And I will be listening to something and all of a sudden in the song, there'll be police sirens.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And she gets nervous, Bob, and there's no police. And then she realizes that it's in the song.
That same thing happens when we watch movies in the van.
Yeah.
And the minivan with the kids, they've got the backseat video going on, and it'll be some movie with police in it. And I hear that, and like my heart starts to go into palpitations. I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on? I was only going 85.
I know. I was only speeding 15 miles over.
Yeah, it's like I saw the Dodge Charger go past me like 1 mile back. So like he's gonna get caught, not me.
Dude.
But yeah, man, there was something I wanted to ask. I cannot remember it for the life of me now.
Did it have anything to do with our conversation?
Which conversation? We've like gone through multiple things.
When are we going riding again?
Oh, motorcycle riding?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to tell you, I have found my next bike. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Please do.
And I already told my wife, Naomi. She says, when are you getting it? And I said, well, as soon as
Is it a motorcycle?
it's a motorcycle. As soon as we pay off one of our, credit cards.
Sure. So this is a bike that's currently for sale, or you can get it anytime?
Yeah, I can buy it. They're new models. So I don't normally look at new because I think used is a better value. But man, I love these motorcycles. I can't find them on my photo feed though.
It's a guy who takes a lot of photos.
I do take a lot of photos. It's actually photos
So
of my kids.
while he's looking at his photos, I'll talk to you guys for a second. One of the things that Alex and I like to do is ride motorcycles. And Alex decided that he wanted to let go of his motorcycle that he had so he can use his funds to put in that air conditioning unit. And I said to him, I can't believe you would do that to me. Why would you sell your motorcycle to make sure your family has heat? And
such a bad decision.
Yeah, it's a poor decision on your half.
All right, I sent the pictures to Naomi. Here we go.
That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, no, that I do feel it though, because motorcycle riding is part of life. So here is the new Himalayan
No way.
450 that they released this past year.
How much is it? Like 7,900 or something like that?
It is starting at 5,700. If you want to go tubeless, it goes up to 6,100, and it comes with pretty much everything you need to start riding, except if you want an adventure seat, that's a few $100 more. If you want an extended adventure windshield, that's like $100 more. But you can go like with everything loaded up, ready to go, probably like 6,400.
Really? Would you put panniers on it?
Yes, I'd probably put them on, or I just do a soft bag on the back.
Yeah. So when we're done recording this podcast, we need to learn how to put this picture in the video for picture in picture.
Yes. So to show it.
Yeah.
Super source.
Yeah, super source it.
Super source.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
There's another one though.
That right there, the Royal Enfield, right? So I like those motorcycles. People,
dude, they look awesome.
Well, there are some things about them. They're not 100% perfect off-road.
No.
But just like a KLR, it is really good for what it wants to do off-road, and it's really good for what it wants to do on road. And I think that's a perfect bike.
It's good at everything. It doesn't excel at anything, which is what people say about the KLR.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Royal Enfield, the Himalayan, is that it comes with electronics. It comes with ABS, which I'm not a huge fan of ABS.
Fuel injection.
It's fuel injection. They actually have a new motor on this one, which is good or bad. It depends on what you think about it. But it has a better top end. You can go faster on the highway.
They needed that. That was a huge complaint.
It's a single cylinder, so you get some of that thumping.
Yeah.
But apparently the vibration is not that bad.
I rode an old Himalaya, like a 2016 or 17 Himalaya. It was great.
It was good.
Yeah, it was real good. Like that's another thing too. Like when you're riding motorcycles, like that's when I think of motorcycles, everyone's buying the like. I bought my dream motorcycle a couple years ago. It was a BMW GSA 1200. It's
a really nice bike.
Yeah, and you don't get an opportunity to buy that bike too many times unless you're like wealthy and have good money stream. So I had come across a good opportunity where the guy was letting it go for a decent price, and I knew I would never get it for that price again. So I jumped on it and bought it. It is way too much bike for everything that I do. It is perfect for going across, country, like for when I ride it up north, and I take it on road trips. But the bike is it's too much for just rounded town. And when I think about people who are like me, who buy this really, really big bike and try to ride it the way I ride it, I should have just bought something smaller. I should have bought like an African 300 or something like that.
Also a great touring bike.
Yeah. So like, should have just bought something like that, or like the Himalaya, like the Himalaya.
Now here's another thing though. And this is a stretch, I think. I don't know how I feel about it. I do like the way it looks. So CF Moto, it's a Chinese manufacturer.
That's a rocket taken off because it's Chinese.
Yeah, it's a CF Moto, but here the value is just incredible. It does have like name brand shocks and a lot of name brand parts on it. Mm-hmm. And some major motorcycle journalists have used this to ride across like Europe and through Asia. Mm-hmm. And of course they're sponsored by CF Moto, but they've done some reviews on it and said that they would have chosen that over some of the more traditional like Japanese brands.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the CF Moto and what they're doing is they're really like, how can I put it? Like, they're not outdoing their competitor by any means. They're not like blowing the doors off of like Honda or Yamaha or their competitors. But what they are doing is bringing a fully functional dual sport motorcycle to people who ride it the way I ride it. Because like, for instance, people who are buying this motorcycle, they're not their adventure rider that's riding all year long. They might go on a 3-day trip. They might go on a week trip. You know, they might drive, maybe 1,000 miles total or 1,300 miles total, So like when I was saying before, like when I bought my bike, I bought it because in my head, it was my dream bike. It's not really the bike I needed. And the fact is like it bit me in the butt a little bit because it's like, I ride it around everywhere. I act like it's a small bike for just jumping and going to the store and back real quick. But
which it is a nice bike for doing that.
Yeah. But there's a big price tag, and then you marry the manufacturer. Here's this CF Moto. One thing that they're doing that the Japanese brands and the German brands are not doing, all of their parts are easily sourced.
Yes.
So they're sourcing their parts, and they're supposed to be easy to work on.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
It's a brand new, this one is, I can't even remember, the Ibex, the 450.
Yeah.
It's a direct competitor to the Himalayan 450. Mm-hmm. So they both came out about the same time.
And that's what, $1,000 left in it, right?
About the same price.
Are they?
Okay. Well, the CF Moto starts higher, but that's because most of the options that come on the Himalayan are already baked into the CF Moto. Like the tubeless tires, it's a 2-cylinder, has a nice sounding engine, apparently. Yeah. I'm speaking based on what others have said, so I haven't ridden them yet.
Yeah, the YouTube videos are where it's at. Like
the YouTube video, the rides, the ride-alongs, where they talk about it. But there's a CF Moto dealer in more cities across the United States than there are Royal Enfield dealers. So their dealership network is pretty good. Yeah. Because they partner with, those power sport centers that will sell all brands. Mm-hmm. Royal Enfield's a little bit less. They have like 115 dealers or so in the United States.
Wow.
So as you mentioned.
And their parts are from India. People think Royal Enfield is English. It's not. It's from India.
Yeah, like, is it what? Yeah, similar to Land Rover, right? Didn't Land Rover get bought by an Indian company, or is it Range Rover?
Well, Range Rover is a Land Rover.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, but
mixing up my Rovers.
But I know that India purchased Royal Enfield in. I can't remember. Like, we should look it up, but I wish I had like a young Jamie.
We gotta look this up now.
Yeah, look it up. But India, I don't want to use this in case I ruin a shot with my phone.
No, we're gonna do this. Hey, when did
AI is taking over?
Yeah, when did Royal Enfield get bought out by an Indian company? Let's see what it says.
You know what we could do? We could hook your phone up.
1994.
It got bought out in 94?
1994 by the Iker Group.
Okay.
Eicher, CH.
I know they got bought a couple times because I know Royal Enfield got bought back by a British company again, and then it got sold to an Indian company.
Interesting. Well, this is from Top Gear. Top Gear says this. But then they say that they have a R&D center in the UK right now.
Yes.
Interesting.
They do all of their manufacturing in India. And I know that Royal Enfield, they're fun bikes. If you ever get a chance to get on their 250 or their 500, they are fun bikes, and they got that old look.
Yeah,
That CF Moto.
You sound like you're a bit hesitant because when I pulled the picture out, you took your breath.
No, well, it's not that I'm hesitant. It's just, so those bikes are hit and miss.
Yeah.
So you might get a good one and you might get a bad one.
And that's the Chinese.
Yeah, that's the Chinese one.
The Chinese, and that's because they just don't have that reputability.
I don't know. I feel like people when they're buying the CF Moto, I think their quality has doubled and tripled since when they started. And from all of my knowledge, when that bike came out, I think it was like 2000, not even out, but like when CF Moto was making that bike, it was like 2019, 2020. YouTubers were coming out on that bike and they were loving the bike. But then you were seeing the glorified video of them. And then when you were reading of like, the longevity of the bike, certain things were wearing out because of the Chinese materials were wearing out.
Yeah.
And they were replacing them with either U.S. materials or German materials and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that that's probably my main concern about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the way the Himalayan looks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really love that classic motorcycle look, kind of the sit on motorcycle versus the sit in.
Yeah.
Which I'm 6'2", so I think sitting on top of it, that kind of feel is better for me.
Yeah.
Like the dual sport feel.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning toward the Himalayan just because it's got the previous generation has a bit more of a reliability standard that's high. You know, people say it's good and it's supposed to be easy to work on. There's not a lot to it.
There's a chick YouTuber, sorry for saying chick, there's a girl YouTuber that drove across the world on a Himalayan.
Yeah.
And as long as you do your maintenance on that bike, you'll be fine.
Just
I don't
like
know about the
bike.
CF Moto.
Just like any bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is why I looked at these bikes too, is I think I told you, I've been telling you, hey, I'm going to get a KLR. That's going to be my next bike. And I've been looking at them. The newest generation has fuel injection, but everything else about that thing is like still
from 1980,
like not changed. And which is not bad. It's not necessarily bad because you're like, okay, gas engines, how far have they come?
Yeah.
Especially for motorcycles. So you want something that's tried and true. People know how it works.
Yeah.
Every inch of it, people have scrutinized. So they know how it works. You can get it fixed. You can get aftermarket parts. But the value, to me, I have a hard time justifying it because there's no electronics. Like everything's plastic. And
well, they have, don't they have the stability control now for your anti-lock braking?
They have ABS.
Yeah.
I think that's like the one thing. But there's like no switching mode. You can't switch ride modes. It's like the off-road, on-road, which the Himalayan you can. You can switch ride modes. Now, granted, I've never ridden on a bike that does that, so I don't know what that means.
But here's the thing. Like, so take it from me, who I like motorcycles with no electronics.
Yes, for like off-road riding, right?
I like it for all riding.
Okay,
because my bike, it has. Not my bike. My bike is okay. My bike hasn't failed me yet, but that motorcycle has problems with its ABS. And a lot of people, after so many miles, will end up disconnecting their ABS anyway because it creates problems for them in the future because it fails,
I see.
And then all of a sudden you got that red and yellow light stating that your ABS is not working, and you got to look at that every time you get on the bike. That's true.
ABS is not a feature I actually want. So I don't look for ABS to be a feature.
Yeah.
I I'm with you on that. I don't
So-
feel like I need to have ABS on a motorcycle.
And then ride modes. I mean, like, how much do you really need ride modes? I mean, like, you're riding a motorcycle. The electronic ride modes will allow the computer to do a lot of the work for you if you're riding in sand or loose gravel or something like that. But at the same time,
Well, so
I
ride
wonder how
modes.
much- yeah.
I shouldn't have said ride modes. I like that both of those motorcycles have like maps integrated and music and all that stuff, because one of the frustrations I've had with my Kawasaki's is that I had to have my phone on a mount, like right there, and I'm trying to do stuff with it. But like the Himalayan has controls built into like the handlebar.
Comfort issues.
Yeah, like it wasn't
Yeah.
comfortable for adventure riding.
Yeah,
And like
that is cool.
I don't like putting my phone up there. I always felt like it would fall off and I'd have to like fat finger stuff.
Yeah, like that's another thing too. Like I'm never happy with having my motorcycle riding and then having my phone on the handlebar. Because if you do go down and you're not near your motorcycle, good chances are you have a real nice, phone mount, and your phone stays with the bike and you are not with the bike, and
That's true.
you can't walk, or you can't, like, if you go down and you got to crawl to your bike to call.
Yeah.
So
It's a small thing. I mean, it's a small thing, but you can tell their marketing has like, grabbed me, because that's the small thing became a big thing, because I thought about, I don't like to have the phone up there when I'm, trying to go on that dirt road, and I've had it kind of wiggle and I'm worried it's going to fall off the bike.
Yeah. But, it's another expense, but, it's so inexpensive compared to, buying a motorcycle with all those features. There are a lot of like Moto Gadget and like a whole bunch of other, CarPlay sources that you can fix on your motorcycle that almost look like a rally motorcycle display. So it pops up and it's square, and it has all your information that is on your phone, because your phone is tethered to it via Bluetooth
Oh, okay.
and Wi-Fi.
Okay. Like one of those,
Just like your smart, like if it does in a car.
yeah, like a heads up display
Yeah.
kind of deal. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And
So
that reminds me of one more thing about this though, is the KLR, and this might be like a point of, hey, you don't need it, but one thing I've noticed is that the new KLRs don't have a tachometer. And some people are like, hey, it doesn't show you when to shift gears, which I think if you don't know when to switch gears, then you're riding wrong. So you don't need a gear shift indicator, but not having a tachometer, I'm a little confused with why they didn't put it on the new KLR, but all their lower end KLX bikes have a tachometer.
yeah.
I'm like, why? Like, why do they do that?
Well, the Japanese, they are so in with feng shui. If they have one circle, they might need another circle to make it even. But, tachometer tells you a lot of information. It can tell, basically if your motor's running harder than it needs to be or whatever, but you're running a Kawasaki KLR 650, it's going to high rev anyway. It's not like it's a low rev.
Yeah, but you're, this is, and we don't have to talk anymore about motorcycles after this, but
Okay.
that's another one of the small things. Where,
Himalaya.
yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. Never mind. We're done. It has a tachometer.
Man. Yeah, but
man.
that's another thing. Like I wanted to get a couple of my motorcycle buddies for a motorcycle roundtable, and I called my friend, and one of my main riding buddies, Jason, just told me he's moving to Montana.
Oh,
Yeah, so
man.
I think he's keeping his home here,
Okay.
but I think he's going to like rent that out, but he's moving to Montana. So I literally lost all my riding buddies.
Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's probably my fault too.
I'm blaming you.
Yeah.
I think because of you, Jason moved.
Yeah, it's like, Alex sold his motorcycle, so it's time for me to move to Montana.
Once again, I forgot to switch. All that conversation was on my face because I
Oh,
forgot.
that's all right. That's all right.
I need to hire a person to do this switching for us. Or for me.
Oh man, I can see how that would be hard.
Yeah. And like, I'm sorry for the hard breathe in the microphone, but but I'm using this thing. Let's talk tech for a second.
Okay, let's talk tech.
So Bob Dodd Show is being ran off of, like basically Amazon lights and, just some technology that, a lot of YouTubers like to use. For the audio, we're using the Rodecaster Pro 2, and we're getting the very good sound. The video switching, we are getting the YOLO Box Ultra. So I ordered the YOLO Box Extreme from B&H. It arrived not working. We could not get it to work. We reached out to YOLO and they said, yes, it's broken. Please send it back. So in the meantime,
that's a bummer.
Yeah. In the meantime, I bought this YOLO box from Amazon trying to test it out. And I could already tell you just from all of the things that you see on YouTube that the YOLO Box Extra is definitely more of what I need. This isn't fitting me well. If it was a YouTube content creator that makes shorts and stuff like that, or if you were doing like, videos about sports and stuff like that, this machine is definitely for you. And it works well, but I need more inputs, which the YOLO Box Extreme will give me. And I think that the way that YOLO Box has set this up with all their ports coming out of both sides, that there's no good way to keep.
You can't prop it up.
Yeah. There's no propping it up. And maybe there's a fix for that, and I don't know about it yet, but I feel like...
Can you do like right angle HDMI connectors on the back? And then get like an iPad stand and like stand it on there?
There are different ways that you can do this. And a lot of people too, like this screen shifts. So like I could put it up this way and have the cables just shoot out the sides of it and make this be the top and this be the bottom, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But
it's got a tripod mount.
Yeah.
At the bottom too. So you could
quarter 20 and you screw it in.
Yeah. I can see the pros and cons of this. Like I've actually never used a video switcher with a built-in display, which I think is like a plus and minus.
What is your video switcher?
So for our podcast, we use an OC GoStream.
Oh, do you?
Yes. And
I almost bought that.
So it's, at anything in a lower price point, there are things that are great about it, things that are not so great. You got to choose what things you need and what you don't.
Yeah.
So coming from like a live production world where we use 4A video switchers, which if you're not familiar, they're like up there with like some of the more like large event video switchers. Very low latency systems.
They're for big programs.
For multi-camera, your jam syncing everything. You're running everything through a big controller interface, and then you have your rack mount inputs and outputs, which is, if you look at this, you can't probably see it on camera, but if you see what we're looking at right now, you can see the negative of having everything, all of your inputs and outputs come into one little box, is that it creates a cumbersome setup. So I think I like though about this is that you have that display built in. And that's the one thing about the OC GoStream that I really wish we had, is that there was some kind of display built into it that would make it truly portable.
Did you see the OC GoStream package where it comes with in the box?
When we bought it, they didn't have that package with the SDI. We needed SDI. So we had an NDI. We use it with NDI. And we have a bird dog camera that operates over Ethernet, sends video from the Ethernet down to the OC, and that's how the camera's powered, all that stuff. So in theory, it all works great. But again, at that price point, you got to know that it's not bulletproof. But looking at the YOLO, that's you only live once. Is that what that stands for?
You know what? We got to ask Frank. He's the owner of YOLO Box. It's Frank. Like this Chinese guy. This is a Chinese company. And it's so funny. One thing about Frank is when you look at his earlier videos, you hear his real voice, and he's broken English. And in his newer videos, he's using AI. So his avatar looks exactly like him with the same exact background all the time, and you could see how it like glitches sometimes. You know it's fake, and he's talking in a perfect American accent. Like,
oh man,
Yeah.
well that's that's a whole nother tangent. Which I've tried that. It's crazy how that works.
did you messed with the AI
So
avatars?
11labs.com. They're at like the forefront of AI. So you can do this cool thing. And I think streamers have been doing this for years, but I didn't realize what they were doing is you can, this is where AI voice changing, I think really has power is you don't let the AI just take text and read the text. You dictate how it should sound. And then the AI takes that and changes your voice or even adds a new voice. And that's where an AI voice sounds really good.
Yeah.
So you are essentially training the AI how to have inflection, how to read at what cadence, what speed. And I've done that for a few videos. And of course, if you know what you're listening for, you'll probably be like, oh, that might be AI.
Yeah.
But if you can have somebody dictate the text and then choose your AI voice, so the AI voice knows how to inflect and what speed to read at, it's pretty good. Like
Dude.
it's really good.
That's awesome.
And 11 Labs, maybe they'll sponsor this. Maybe they'll do an AI voice intro. We actually use AI voice for our church podcast intro.
You don't have to pay anybody.
No, we don't. No royalties.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's going to cost $100 for this podcast for to be on it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's time to go.
No, I just find it so amazing that like 11 Labs, what they're doing. And I mean, my mom would not be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
A lot of people that aren't just keeping tabs on it, they might not notice that the eyes twitch or the hair doesn't move.
No, I have not tried the video. I'm talking about the audio.
Oh, okay.
No, the video stuff but still.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I saw something on YouTube, and I'm sorry, I'm interrupting your.
No, go for it, because this is along the lines that I was talking about.
Well, it was a video AI thing.
Mhm.
It was a commercial for investments, and it was a YouTube commercial, and I'm looking at it because it looks so good. Like the video scene, it looks like it's filmed in like some rich guy's New York penthouse. And I'm looking at it and watching this and listening to this guy talk about investments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always interested in investments. I don't watch YouTube videos, but it just looks so good. I was like, this is a really well shot ad. And then I realized this is not a real guy.
Yeah.
But it was so good. And I work with AI a lot. It was so good. It fooled me for like 10 seconds.
Wow.
And then I realized that, first of all, it was illegal because you're not supposed to run ads with fake people on YouTube talking about financial information. That's actually against their terms of policy. So I reported it.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, we all know what happened with fake political ads and stuff with people being impersonated. We've seen deep fakes and all that, but this was just a guy generated.
Yeah.
There was nothing original. Nothing that they copied. It was just all original stuff. And it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was all an original person. I was like, this is a really kind of frightening that this guy's telling people how to invest their money. You could manipulate markets using AI and YouTube ads. It was like, that's not good. That's
especially with the bots, right? Like, let's say this YouTube finance guy paid whoever makes bots, and all of a sudden he has, 450,000 views on his YouTube channel, and, I don't know, 4,000 likes because that's like the algorithm. And people are like, oh man, look at this guy. It's awesome. I am going to invest this way. And then they try to do it and then they fall short. And, that guy just, gets to walk away from with his bad advice.
Yeah. And I think it's like, it's not the Elon Musk saying, hey, buy up GameStop or buy up that movie theater stock. That's stuff that will make a change.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the more like, I don't want to say sinister, but the more like under the table, like low key things like those YouTube ads where it gets into people's brains. Hey, I should invest in this stock. And they may not even know why they think that. But there was an ad that ran where they had this really convincing guy tell them, hey, like this is what the markets are showing, or this is what research is showing. So that, by the way, that's how the current generation that's on social media gets their news and information.
That's so wild.
They get it from TikTok. The majority of them do. And I just read this yesterday, actually, is that the current generation, has the hardest time telling whether things are fake or not. And we think that because they're on TikTok or YouTube all the time that they know, that they actually tend to believe everything unless a peer tells them at that same time when they're watching that content that it's not real.
Well, they're being told what's real. They're being manipulated.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the news source. I mean, like, I am, by no means a political warrior for any side. And I can tell you this much. Every time you turn on the news when a disaster happens, like when Pope died, or, when an airplane goes down or something big happens, every news source has the same verbiage. And it's wild. It's like, oh, wow, MSNBC, CNN, like all these, channels, they all use
AP
the same.
News.
Yeah. They use the same news.
Bloomberg, AP News.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, now you probably knew this. I did not. Is most NBC, ABC, CBS, most of them get their news from AP or like Bloomberg or Reuters. They're white labeling the news.
Yeah. They're all left leaning.
But that's
liberal,
crazy, right? Is that actually like boils everything down to only like 3 organizations providing the news.
I think there's that many organizations running all the news right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that it was something, and the reason I found this out, again, maybe I'm just ignorant and I should have known this, but it was because Trump banned one of the AP reporters who normally, I guess all those wire news organizations have traditionally always had a reporter with the president at pretty much all times, so they could constantly feed the news.
Yeah, and Trump kicked AP out.
Kicked one of their AP reporters out, and then it started going into that's how all these other organizations get their news. So how are they going to get it? I was like, wait, so you're telling me the AP provides like everything? So like that's a gatekeeper.
Yeah. When you see a news organization basically eating the opposite side or one side or the other side, I stop trusting them, and there's like there's a pretty cool news source. It's like Crystal and Sagar. I used to watch that until I don't know, something changed about them. They started making me think that they've been bought and paid for. Yeah. But, I used to watch them thinking, oh, this is cool and true. Just like when Vice was,
Vice.
When Vice was really Vice.
Yeah. They were edgy.
They were, not only were they edgy, they were bringing you the news source unfiltered.
Yeah.
So you were allowed to make your own choice.
Their videos were good.
Yeah.
I love their videos.
And then they got bought out. And then they
who bought them out?
I don't remember, but I do remember seeing that the owner of Vice, he was unhappy with the fact that they kind of kicked him out.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if he won like a lawsuit to be a part of it again. But he no longer has control, but he does deal with Vice. And he like came out and said, Vice is very left leaning, and they're doing what they want to do. Like their views have nothing to do with my personal views. I started Vice. I sold Vice. I do things for Vice here and there because contractually he has to. But yeah. So like the opinions of Vice is not his.
Okay.
And he ended up making a new channel for himself. And if I'm not mistaken, it's less content, but still same edgy like Vice used to be.
Yeah, that man. I haven't seen a lot of Vice content recently, maybe because I just don't look into it. But there was a Vice documentary that I watched, like one of their. I'm pretty confident it was Vice because they were one of the only ones I think that would have done this. Is they actually went in depth and reported on the manufacturing in China. This was years ago, and they talked about how things were made and like the industrial competitiveness of the Chinese people. It was like one of the most eye-opening things that I've ever watched about how the Chinese have cornered the entire global manufacturing market, and then even interviewed them and went over and lived, like the journalists lived over there and interviewed people, and they showed like how they make everything and how everything's a knockoff, and how in Chinese culture that's not frowned on. They don't think they're doing anything wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, so in China, there's no rules. I mean, look what happened to Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson got a hold of blueprints of their motorcycle, and they started making the motorcycle, and Harley tried going after them. And they were like, you have one option. Sell us the rights for this amount of money, or else we're just going to continue making the motorcycles, and we might actually just put Harley Davidson on it. And what are you going to do about it? We're not in America.
That's crazy.
So Harley Davidson sold to China.
Wow.
Yeah, and they sold the rights to a certain amount of motorcycles, and I shouldn't say certain models of motorcycles. So, and then they have their own, and China would have did it without them anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's man, everything seems to come back to that, and like the tariffs, right? I think that's what the tariffs on China, why people have not been so much against that, because they feel like China, there's like that built up, like maybe nationwide frustration or even anger.
I don't know. I think people don't really understand, how tariffs had played a role in our lives since they started. Like for instance, like we, the United States, were not tariffing other countries for a long time, but we were getting tariffed.
Yeah.
But yet we were still the main consumers. Mm-hmm. And when we had a huge shift out of the 60s into the 70s and companies started going abroad because it was just cheaper, because China, oh my gosh, Malaysia, all these places that do manufacturing, India, they were offering these slave labor deals, like people were building, take for instance, steel. Like, it's crazy. China stole our steel metallurgy, right? Yeah. I think that they still didn't get it right, but yet they stole the metallurgy for it or whatever, and all the properties to make the steel. They started making steel, and they started selling it to us, and American companies started buying it. And the U.S. steel industry here was like, what are you companies doing? Like, China stole our intellectual property, and they're making it over there, and they're selling it to you for, a price that we can't compete with. And the manufacturer was like, well, if you can't compete with it, I'm going to stay with buying from China. Yeah. And they didn't realize that the quality from China was not as good. Mm. And not only that, the U.S. steel industry, they started to fall, and they had layoffs, and it was crushing our economy. And it was crushing a lot of people. Now, is that natural for businesses to do that kind of a thing? I'm not sure. If I was a businessman, I would be conflicted with buying something cheap from China and putting like Paul and Louis and Gary out of a job. But at the same time, if I was having a hard time and can't afford something, then I would have to do that. Yeah. Like, I shop at Walmart sometimes, not because I want to, but I just know I can get something there that I need. Afford. Yeah, for what I can afford. Yeah. So, and a lot of people that they sit there and say, well, if it was made in America, it would cost 3 times the amount of money. Well, not necessarily true, but it's possible, could be true, because if, number one, if we have a manufacturer here that's making flim flam and we needed flim flam, right, then we can get flim flam here and not worry about getting flim flam from China. It's like our medical stuff and all of our medication, and like our medical field, everything was being purchased from China. And when we got hit with that pandemic, a lot of hospitals were like, what are we going to do? Chinese people are holding this stuff and raising the prices on stuff. Yeah. And we had no control over it. Computer chips, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's a multifaceted thing, right? It's not just like, hey, this is the reason and this is the result. Yeah. Like, as you mentioned. But I do think it is worth saying, and I don't think it's anti-American to say this. I think it's the reality. Not everything made in America is better. It depends on who makes it and what price you pay. Yeah. But what you said, I think, is an important thing, is that the Chinese companies stole the research and intellectual property to make products. The quality was not as good, though, because their manufacturing expertise and perhaps quality materials and workmanship just were not up there. Experience. You got to have experienced workers too, which there was generations of steel workers who knew what they were doing in America, maybe not so much in China. So experience was also not there. But, and that's kind of what I was getting at, is that as a nation, I think people feel that, hey, we've been stolen from. Like all of our hard work, our research, our expertise has been essentially taken by another country, and we're being held hostage by that. And that's, I think, where I don't want to pay more for things. Nobody does. Yeah. But then you're like, you know what? We got stolen from, and it's time that we're like paid our fair share.
Yeah. I think it's just, we need to be smart. I mean, we've turned a country that was, basically we were builders, makers, entrepreneurs, and inventors here in the United States. And although that still happens and exists here, we've really become we're the consumer. Yeah. We're the number one consumer. Yeah. United States. And you know who's number 4? California.
That's crazy.
California itself is the 4th largest consumer in the world. Just one state in the United States.
They're one of the biggest economies in the world.
Well, there's a lot of production that happens there.
Yeah.
And they're taxing their people to the point where they're leaving. Now, the people who are not leaving California are the people who can't afford to leave California, or just aren't leaving California yet. I mean, look at Tesla. They're moving out. A lot of companies are moving out. Gosh, you have Target closing stores. You have Walmart closing stores. You have grocery stores closing stores.
I went to Target in California it was last year. I think it was last year. I went to a wedding, stopped at Target to pick up something. And, they charge for your plastic bags.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I remember thinking that, wow, I don't think I'm going to use a plastic bag because I'll have to pay 25 cents to get one.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like it's so weird. Like California is weird. They will charge you a penalty for not having a bag, basically.
Penalty. Yeah, they're taxing.
Yep, they're taxing. Yeah. Oh, you didn't bring your cloth bag? I cannot believe you did not bring your hemp bag for your heavy milk.
Your hemp bag.
You mean to tell me you need to double, triple bag your milk because you have to walk up 3 flights of stairs to your apartment?
They did the Aldi treatment to everybody.
Yeah. Well, even Aldi, their bags, although they're, they're not the best bags in the world, but 12 cents, you get a paper bag, and it has
paper bags.
Yeah. It has handles on it. And if you're not like me, you'll appropriately fill the bag.
Yeah.
And use the handles. But me, I overfill the bag and don't use the handles.
See, I have a solution that not everybody can use it, but if you bring your kids, you just give everything to them and make them carry it.
Man,
you
need to patent that.
Yeah. It's called the kid carrier.
The kid carrier.
Except that the kid's not being carried. They're carrying for you.
Yeah. I don't know. Things are so wild, and everybody likes to act like they know what's better or they know what's going on. Like, dude, I have no idea what's like truly happening. Yeah. Like, I see all the news articles. I try to get a pulse on it, but I bet you that if the outlook of one person compared to another person, it's like if they are level-headed and not outrageous about it, and if it makes sense, I can see both sides, I can see both angles. If someone is like real out of control and outrageous and very forceful and trying to act as an authority about it, I tend to like back away. Yeah. And it's normally like the loudest person that's doing that too. It's like, I don't know, man. Nobody has the correct answer. People are unhappy. People are happy no matter what's going on. I just know that the Lord above is, and Jah is my driver.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, at the end of the day, we can't live our lives in the news. We got to focus on what we actually have a pulse on and what we have our hand on, which is our family. So we're like, it's hard to know. So we just got to have a certain level of trust. Yeah.
Get your head out of the TV or your phone and go down to your nearest bodega or your
Yes.
nearest store and actually just go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You'll find out real quick that things are all right.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily as bad as it seems if you just
Yeah.
go on a motorcycle ride.
Oh my gosh. That's my medication for a lot of different things.
Exactly.
When I laid the Harley down in October, I really thought that maybe I wouldn't get back on the bike so soon, but I did.
Oh, that was the Buc-ee's
Yeah.
spill.
Yeah. Buc-ee's. I love Buc-ee's, man.
Yeah, I got the hat on right now.
They did do me wrong though, because there was all that fuel on the ground and someone should have said something about it. But
Should put a sign out.
well, the police officer said there's no video cameras. So how do you know who did it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, either a tanker, because how much fuel was on the ground.
So that's got to be a lot.
Yeah. Like there had to have been hundreds and hundreds of gallons of fuel, diesel fuel on the ground.
That's crazy.
You know, so like you have to understand that all that diesel fuel came from a tanker. It didn't come from someone's pickup truck.
Unless somebody with one of those, flatbed farm trucks had a tank and it just spilled off the back.
yeah, but
That would have to be extreme.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's only 100 gallons.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing went, gosh, so much diesel fuel. And I knew I was riding in liquid. I didn't know what type of liquid it was because, like, I was smelling the diesel fuel, but it also did not smell.
Wait, I actually didn't hear this. So you were riding through a wet surface that was not made up of water.
It was diesel
It
fuel.
wasn't just slick. You were actually noticing droplets.
So here's the thing, from Buc-ee's parking lot, and I didn't get a chance to go inspect every gas pump because my foot was all messed up and all my ligaments were torn. I couldn't walk. But
It's a petty excuse.
I know. But from where the traffic light was to the intersection of where I wrecked, you can see the fuel trail go all the way back to the fuel pumps.
Wow.
So I asked the officer, I said, hey, could we follow that back? And the police officer there was basically like, I'm not doing that. And I said, oh, well, like, isn't it illegal for someone to drop all this fuel on the ground? And like, I wrecked my motorcycle over this. And he said that, the way insurance works and stuff like that, it's a liability. I was driving, I saw the liquid on the ground and like, it's like, do you want to sue? Is that what you want to do? Because if you want to sue, I have to write a report up and I have to actually detain you here for a second to see if you were drinking and everything else. And like, you could tell the officer, A, didn't really want to do all of that. B, he was dropping some, hard to swallow facts for me.
Yeah.
And basically I came to the conclusion, like, this officer's right. And there's no real telling who is at fault here other than the fact that I'm riding the bike, I'm riding the motorcycle.
It's hard to sometimes to realize that
Yeah.
somebody else did something that caused you to wreck, but you can't really
blame anybody
blame
but
'em.
myself. Yeah.
I had that happen. I gotta actually go in a sec. My wife just
Oh,
called.
Okay. Well, yeah. Tell me, finish the story up. We'll finish it up.
Well, I was going to say that I had something similar happen, and I will take full responsibility because I believe in being a responsible motorcyclist and not blaming everybody for your problems. When I had just been riding for a year or two, I was up in Ringgold, Georgia, and I was crossing over the interstate, like one of those interstate crossover bridges, and they had a stoplight on the on-ramp. And I'm just going 35, not very fast. Had my dual sport tires on, so 50-50 off-road, on-road tires. So not the best in either, but good enough. Wasn't raining, completely dry, and this Toyota Corolla, it's a brand new Toyota Corolla, is in front of me. And the light turns yellow and they just stop in the middle of the intersection. And I'm following them and I hit my brakes and my back tire locks up and I'm trying to like modulate my front so I don't flip over the handlebars. And I'm hitting, that point where the oil droplets hit right at the stopping point of the intersection. I'm talking about, it's kind of slick there. So I hit that. But I ended up like kind of twisting my handlebars and not flipping over and just scraping along the side of the car.
Oh, wow.
It only bent my handlebars. It actually did more damage to them. But point being is that for motorcyclists, any slick on the road is danger.
Yeah.
And that And also point is, if there's a yellow light, you don't stop in the intersection, you keep going.
Yeah.
But I completely said, look, officer, I'm new to this. I will take the blame for it. And actually, I didn't get any points knocked off. I didn't get a ticket or anything. He just said, all right, you just doing your insurance thing. My insurance rates did not go up. I was very blessed in the whole situation that nothing really happened, which was what I was hoping for by not trying to say, hey, this person should not have stopped. But I knew that if I fought it, they'd say you were following too close.
Yeah.
They always say that.
Yeah. And plus, when you're behind somebody, that's insurance.
Yeah. Insurance wise, that's always what they'll say is if you can't stop in time, even if that person, again, stops in the middle of the intersection on a yellow, I will forever state that that's what happened because that is what happened.
Two dumb mistakes don't make your mistake right. That's the thing.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I got to tell you, man, if wifey is calling, you better tell her that you're mine. It's like
the Bob Dodd show is still live.
Yeah, the Bob Dodd show is still live. We can hook her up. We can do phone calls here.
Oh man, I don't know if she's ready for that.
Yeah,
she'd probably get
with me. All right, well, cool. Well, I want to thank Alex for stopping by. I thought we would talk more gear because we didn't talk the Osbot camera. We didn't really talk the Yellow Ultra too much and the road system and the GVM Amazon lights.
Yeah, but YOLO.
Yeah, man.
Well, maybe next time, episode 2.
Yeah. So you heard it you heard it here that Alex is going to come by again.
Yes,
so
the Bob Dodd show.
Maybe we can make this like a once a month kind of a deal. We'll just hang out and just.
Hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what we talked about earlier is that when you get into the situation, I'm not a talker, but in this situation, it just kind of opens up conversation that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool for anybody to do. Anybody who wants to talk about anything.
Yeah, that's I agree. But once again, sometimes I forget you're a quiet dude because we talk so much together. So
you're just so good at bringing it out.
Yeah. Well, dude, Alex, thank you so much for coming in. I think that when you get a chance to come back on, we'll make it happen anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the folks that are listening, recognize that this is the Bob Dodd show and we're coming up.
Cue music.
Yeah. Every episode we do, we're getting better here. And, thanks to, Pinbox Productions for, allowing this to happen and getting this to happen for us. I think that, when they go live in public and they start helping other people make podcasts, it's going to be a real cool thing. And hopefully some local Noonan, Georgia people and businesses, they decide to do the podcast.
This is where it's at.
Yep. And until then, thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe because that's what people say you have to say.
Yes, like and subscribe. Look at the cameras.
Yeah,
say that, right?
Yeah, like and subscribe. I don't have anything for you to subscribe to. I guess the YouTube.
Just like it.
Yeah.
Like it, like double like.
You like it and you love it a lot.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. You get the love it size. All right. But all right. Thanks guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one, man. Take care.
Bye.